by Darren Maloney.
After their second defeat in 3 matches, Jim Gavin makes 6 changes to the side which lost in Killarney. Stephen Cluxton makes his first appearance since last year's All-Ireland semi-final. Owen Culligan and Nicky Devereaux are added to the defence. Emmett O'Conneilla comes into midfield, and Paddy Andrews and Bernard Brogan begin in the full forward line. There's one late switch on the Tyrone team. Cathal McShane replaces Conor McCalliskey at corner forward. That's the only change after their battling draw against Derry at home last weekend. Well, that Tyrone half-forward line all know how to defend, but they know how to attack as well. Here's Tiernan McCann now. Space for Justin McMahon for the lead for Tyrone. And that's a nicely taken score from Justin McMahon. Johnny Cooper gets it back from Dean Rock. Tyrone with plenty of players back. Was that thrown by Kevin McManaman? Dean Rock is through and Rock slots that over. Oh, it was a beautiful hand pass from Kevin McManaman. Quick, silky hands, and a nice finish too from Dean Rock. They're a point behind. Kieran Kilkenny, Aidan McCrory giving him a fair bit of space. They've 12 players behind the ball, Tyrone. Here's Bernard Brogan, a buzz around the place when he gets on the ball for the equaliser, Bernard Brogan. He's back in business already. And Podge McNulty has a lot of space. Philly McMahon is nearest to him. McNulty weaving one way, then the other, deserves a score, and he's got a score. And that's a lovely point from Podge McNulty. Kevin McManaman sizing up the options. Darren McCurry working extremely hard. The corner forward, now it's Owen Culligan. Bernard Brogan, little bit of space, had to turn back around. He's got one already. He's hit the post, a goal chance perhaps. Nicky Devereaux in, and Niall Morgan stopped him. A free in is what the referee is signalling. Bernard Brogan was unlucky, but Nicky Devereaux was following in, and Niall Morgan touched the ball on the ground outside the small parallelogram, and a free in has been given. And Dean Rock slots the ball over. Tyrone 5, Dublin 4, 22 minutes into the first half. Kevin McManaman. Bernard Brogan out of picture, is in closest to the Tyrone goal, and that's a free in. No question about it. Cathal McShane with the foul on Cian O'Sullivan for his 5th point. Dean Rock, he's been their principal scorer in 2015, and that run of form continues. Tenth minute of the second half. A point between them. Emmett O'Conneilla runs straight into trouble, got away from them. This is brilliant from O'Conneilla, and the sides are level for the 3rd time. That's an excellent point from the Lucan Sarsfields and Dublin midfielder Ronan McNabb. Justin McMahon. Matty Donnelly from a very difficult angle, and that is a corker of a point from the Tyrone forward. They're back in front again. That's the score of the night so far. And Tyrone never short on confidence, but they're playing with a real swagger now. This is Barry Tierney for a 2-point lead for Tierney, and that one's gone over. He's over the moon with that point, Barry Tierney. Kevin McManaman, what will the Dublin response be? Could so easily have been in front. They're 2 points down again. Brilliant hands. Paul Flynn. Dean Rock halves the deficit. They've shown flashes of excellent football in this game this evening, but certainly not enough. It was a great take from Rock, and then the combination with Paul Flynn and the finish. Dublin 8, Tyrone 9. Kevin McManaman. Cian O'Sullivan wasn't quite expecting it, maybe not at that height. Bernard Brogan. Ronan McNamee there with him. Brogan trying to get in around the back. Who's waiting on the 20-metre line? The answer is Paul Flynn, and Flynn slots that over the bar. The fourth time the sides have been level. PJ Lavery, Peter Hart, and now Barry Tierney is free. Where's the Dublin defence? Mark Bradley, and it's the Tyrone lead again, and they're showing great character and great mental strength to keep pinning Dublin back. Conal McCann, now Matty Donnelly again, having a super battle with Rory O'Carroll. Goal chance, Tiernan McCann. Cluxton manages to save it. That was the winning of the game right there. Stephen Cluxton coming to Dublin's rescue. Shane Carthy has hit the post. Owen O'Gara keeps it alive for Dublin. They are desperate for a goal. Maybe this is the moment. Dean Rock, goal! He's been their scorer-in-chief all year in the O'Byrne Cup and in the league. That was perfectly placed from Dean Rock, tying down a spot in the Dublin forward line, and he's proving to be a very important player for Jim Gavin's Dublin. Will they get their draw? There's time for more. The sides are level for the fifth time. Conal McCann, Shane Carthy in front of him. Sean Kavanagh. Kavanagh. The referee has given Tyrone a free in. Niall Morgan for Tyrone. With 15 seconds to go. From over 50 metres out, Morgan has dragged it wide. It's wide, it's their 11th wide. And it would appear that we're heading for a draw. The 2 minutes are up, and there it is, it's all over. Dublin 1-9, Tyrone 12 points.
A very titanic game. You know, Tyrone set themselves up as they do, and a very accomplished side at the way they play. And disappointed at the way our boys performed. You know, a lot of handling, a lot of kicking errors, but they show a good resolve and good resilience, which we know they can do.
I suppose the league point rescued by Dublin at the death, and that, by the way, is Tyrone's second draw on the trot. Kieran, fans love these Saturday night double-headers at Croke Park, under the lights and all that. I'm not quite sure how much they would have enjoyed that football match coming away from Croker last night.
No, I think if you put that fixture on next week, a lot of people would stay home, Michael. It was kind of a bit of a snore fest, to be honest with you. It never really got going. Tyrone deserve credit in terms of tactically how they set up. They're playing a very defensive game. They've gone back to what suited them best, I suppose. If you look at the National League last year, they conceded an average of 18 points. They took a fair few hammerings and beatings. Teams put up big scores against them. Kerry down and Clarny last year. Dublin put 3-10 on them last year. So since the defeat to Monaghan, they are gone back to a very much defensive template. Dublin struggled to break it down, as they did against Donegal. And I think the biggest lesson from a Dublin perspective is that they're going to have to learn to find a way around this blanket defence, because they struggled. A lot of bad shot options, a lot of bad handling last night. Defensively, they weren't great either. I think they're trying to concentrate on their defensive game, which is taken away from their offensive game. They're not getting as many attackers from deep. So it was generally a poor Dublin performance last night on the back of a poor second half against Kerry. So a bit of work to do, but as I said, I wouldn't get too despondent, and they deserve a bit of credit for digging it out at the end, because you could argue that they probably didn't deserve a draw, but they got away with a point.
Sure, yeah, and Jim Gavin in the interview there acknowledged that fact, the way that Tyrone was stifled Dublin last night, and the way they set up against them. Yeah,
they were very structured. It was very well thought out, I suppose. If you take look at it from a Dublin perspective, they always let Dublin bring the ball up to this just in the 50-yard line. Now that's the area where Dublin like to pop the ball in. They pop the ball in front of their full forward line, and Colin Kavanagh played a very deep role last night. They always had two men in front of the full forward line trying to cut out any ball going in. If we look here, they two players in the pockets to cut off Cluxton's long kickouts. They were quite happy if Cluxton went short, but look, Colin Kavanagh straight away is retreating into that defensive position. So it meant Dublin were slower coming out. They were cutting off the long kick out, and Kavanagh was there just to cut out in a defensive manner. So they held that line, they held their shape, they were very, very disciplined, and as I said, Dublin struggled with it. And I think Tyrone's objective was to keep the game tight, get it into the second half, be within a range of point or two, and try and nick the game. And they very, very nearly done it. They were 3 points ahead, and it was Dublin that had to come back.
The thing about all this, Kieran, is last year around